Great to see you. It's Monday. And I'm going to continue I talked last Friday about pencil figures in the Old Testament that are like Christ, and Jesus fills in the color in those images. Today, I want to talk about a story. It's a fun story in Genesis. We've already talked about it, but I'm going to talk about it a little differently. So you remember Lot is Abraham's nephew, and they divide up land. Lot decides to take a nicer piece of land near Sodom and Gomorrah. He's actually too close to Sodom and Gomorrah. He shouldn't be that close to those notorious cities. And some kings come in from other lands, and they capture Sodom and Gomorrah. They take all of the plunder, and they head back to where they're home, including they take Lot and his family. Well, Abraham hears about this. He's none too happy. And he has 315 warriors, I believe. And so he takes his warriors and he goes after these kings to rescue Lot and his family. They do. They wipe out those armies, and they're on their way back. And as Abraham is on his way back, he's passing by a town called Salem. Salem will later be known to the world as Jerusalem. And the king, who's also a priest, very unusual for a king and a priest to be together, the same person. And this priest king comes out to meet Abraham and blesses him. His name is Melchizedek. He blesses him. He brings with him, this king brings with him gifts of bread and wine. And he blesses Abraham. Abraham gives him 1/10 of the spoils that he's gotten. 1/10. That sound familiar to you? Tithe of the spoils. And Abraham goes on his way, and the king goes back to the town of Salem. Well, this wouldn't be all that big a deal, and it certainly wouldn't be an image of Christ except for the bread and wine, unless you go to Psalm 110, which, by the way, Psalm 110 is the most quoted psalm in the New Testament. It has to be for a reason. Well, the reason is it really talks about the Messiah. And so this psalm says, "The Lord says to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. The Lord sends forth from Zion your mighty scepter. Rule in the midst of your enemies. Your people will offer themselves freely on the day of your power. In holy garments from the womb of morning, the dew of your youth will be yours. The Lord has sworn and will not change his mind. You are a priest," talking about Jesus now, "a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek." Something about Melchizedek is interesting in the Psalms about how Jesus is fulfilling in the order of Melchizedek. Well, one of the ways is that he doesn't come from the priestly family, the Levites. He's totally separate, and so is Jesus. He doesn't come through the Levites either. So that's one way. One way that he does that. Then also Melchizedek's picked up again in the book of Hebrews. And in Hebrews chapter 7, praises the Messiah and mentions that Melchizedek is the king of righteousness and the king of peace. Well, Salem means peace or shalom. So Jerusalem, city of peace. And so this Melchizedek brings righteousness and he brings peace. He brings these gifts of bread and wine. And Jesus then, in Hebrews, is compared to that king. This is like the Messiah. Melchizedek, who is superior even to Abraham. Christ then colors in Melchizedek in a beautiful color of a Messiah who comes as the Prince of Peace, who comes as the King of Righteousness, who brings peace and righteousness to us. Through his blood and his sacrifice. And, don't forget, brings to us the bread and the wine, his body and his blood. Melchizedek just brings bread and wine. Jesus fills in that with color of his own body and his blood sacrificed for us on the cross. So that's the story of Melchizedek, who is a stick figure that Christ colors in. And these are all through the Old Testament. It's kind of fun to see them. They just aren't stories that just sort of pop up, and it isn't just mentioned by happenstance in Psalm 110. And Psalm 110 is not just by chance the most quoted psalm in the New Testament, and Hebrews doesn't pick up Melchizedek just by chance, but it's all part of a pattern that God has for us, for our world, for salvation for our world. God bless. Oh, by the way, I need to say this is all from Chad Bird, who teaches a class on the Old Testament that I'm currently taking. And if you want to know more about Chad Bird, he's got great stuff. Go to YouTube, type in Chad Bird, and you'll see a lot of his videos, and they're very good. Every one of them's awesome, so I recommend them highly. God bless, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.